let's create brooches. You could do a lovely green one like this one, or how about a pink one like this one, or the lovely blue one that I'm wearing. You can make them out of anything you like, but it's a great way to use up those little scraps of fabric and felt, and they're really quick, they're really easy, and everyone will love them. So let's get started. You're going to need some sort of leaf shape. Now I have a free template for you. You can use the link on the screen or in the description below, or you can use a leaf template from anywhere else, or freestyle it, draw your own leaf. But what you do need is a larger and a smaller version like I have on the template. So the larger one is for your felt, and then your little small one is going to be for your scrap of fabric. So obviously you need some felt, whatever colour you've chosen. I'm going to do this bright pink, and a scrap of fabric. Something to fasten it to you. So you could buy a proper brooch fastening, or you could just use a safety pin like I'm doing here. A little bit of something to stuff it. You could use scrap fabric if you wanted, or yarn. If you want some beads, you need those, and you definitely need something to sew it with. And I recommend an embroidery thread that matches or maybe contrasts. That's up to you. So that's everything you're going to need. So to start with, get those templates. Now what I would say here, obviously if you're using mine, they're a set size, but you could always print them off bigger or smaller to make a larger or a smaller brooch. It's all about in crafting, personalising it, making it how you want, and not feeling the pressure to do it exactly the same as everyone else. So take the larger template and cut out 2 of them from your felt. So you can see how you can use scraps of felt for this really easily. These aren't large pieces. The fact that I'm using quite a large piece is just because that's what I've got available. And just trim round. You don't even need to pin it to the felt. Obviously you can do if that would make you happier. And get 2 identical felt leaves. And then you want to cut the smaller template on your scrap of fabric. Now I'm just positioning it how I am because I want that little contrast of the different squares of the fabric, just to get those different colours and a bit of interest. I just like the look of it. So again, you're just cutting round it, and then you're going to have 2 felt ones and 1 fabric one, and you're ready to start assembling. So one of them, turn it over, because you want them to go together when you put them together and match up perfectly. So can you see how I've positioned my pin on the back of one and the fabric on the front of the other? And get yourself a needle, thread it up with your embroidery thread, put a knot in it and bring it through from the back just at the base of your inner fabric leaf, and then make a small stitch. And then just bring your needle up somewhere along that stitch. Really don't get fussy about where, it doesn't matter. And then another little stitch, and you're just making that little vein that's going to run up your leaf. And then what you want to do is keep putting a vein out to the side. So you're just going to bring your needle up along that centre vein that you're making, and just pick where. There are no rules. You can have as many of these veins as you want, and then just go out to the edge of your fabric and put your needle through, and then come back into the centre in the same place, and then take your needle out to the other side, and you've made a pair of veins just like you'd get on an ordinary leaf. Now don't pull your don't pull your thread too tight, or you'll cause your leaf to bend like that. So if you do, just flatten it out, straighten it out again, and then keep going. So I'm showing you me doing the whole leaf, but I've sped it up so you don't get bored, hopefully. But you can see I'm just working my way up, and as I work up the leaf, I'm adding those veins. I didn't particularly want too many. You could have loads. You could even add veins on veins and add lots of detail if you want to. But I quite like them like this. And what you're doing by putting that vein obviously at the edge is attaching the fabric down so it's not going to come undone. It may fray a little at the edges, but that just adds to the charm in my opinion. And then when you get to the end, just make sure you go right to the end, because again, you just want to secure the point at the end. So you can see I'm just doing a little vein there to the side. Oh, not quite. There we go. And then that could be the front done. You don't have to add any beads. I just think they do add something if you want to. So I'll just wrestle this packet open. Easy open packets. And just get a few of your beads. Now the only thing I need to say about the beads is you probably want them quite small, but remember that you need to be able to get your needle through them. So they can't be too small or you will have trouble. And then usually the easiest thing is to just poke your needle through it on the surface. If you're having trouble, you can pick the bead up and poke the needle through. But just get the bead secured, and the way you do it is obviously you bring your needle up wherever you want a bead. I put it at the end of each of my veins. And then needle through the bead, bead on, back down through the leaf in the same place as you came up. And that'll just secure it. And then just work your way around wherever you want them. So on this one, I'm working my way all the way around and adding them to each vein. But I don't think I added one to the bottom. And now a lot of mine, I add them to the bottom of the leaf as well. But obviously you don't have to. And I do think they look pretty without any. So please don't feel you have to run out and buy beads. If you're enjoying this video, could you give it a thumbs up so it spreads to more people? Because it's really good if more people watch and more people can make their pretty brooches. These make a brilliant gift, especially if you're looking for a last minute gift and you're not looking to spend too much money, perhaps just a little something. So once you're happy with it, we're going to leave that there for a moment and attach the fastening to the back of the other felt leaf. So what I recommend is, again, you bring your needle up from what will be inside the brooch. So think where you want your brooch fastening to be and position it, and then bring your needle up with a knot in it and then back down over your pin. So what you've done there is just secured the pin to the felt. And then go very close to the stitch you just did and do another stitch. Very close to that stitch, do another stitch. And keep going all the way along your safety pin. Now if you've got a proper brooch fastening, this may be how it fastens, or it may be that it has 3 little circles on it. That's quite common. And you just sew like this, but each circle. So work your way along until you're happy it's secure. You don't really want it sliding around. So you want to make sure you go completely from one end right to the other. And you can keep stopping and testing and making sure that you're happy. And get right to that end. And once you are happy, just go to the back and do a little tiny stitch. And you can hide it behind that row of stitches. And then put your needle through the loop, and it's just going to make a little knot, which will just stop it all coming undone. And then you could just do another one, or you can just weave 3 little stitches at the back. You're just trying to secure that thread because you don't want it coming undone. So you can see I've done 2 little knot stitches, and then I'm also just going to do another little run through at the back. You can see I've got a knot, so I'll just deal with that. That's not very exciting for you, is it? Let's just cut it off. And then you've got it secured. And now you can assemble. I'm just going to make that pin a little bit safer. So turn that one over, place your front on, and they should match perfectly. Now if you're not happy with any bits, like I've got a little pointy bit there, and I don't know why I got that, just obviously didn't cut it out very well, just trim them off. And now remember that thread we left? We're just going to bring that up at the end. If you didn't leave a thread, just start a new one. And all you're going to do is a little running stitch, which means you just go in and out through both layers. Make sure they're nice little tidy stitches, but you're just going to work your way all the way round. It also doesn't matter where you started from. You're just going to keep going all the way around. Now what you can find with embroidery thread is as you're working, it gets quite twisted and then it starts to try and tangle. So if you're having that problem, just hold it up and let the needle dangle and it'll all unwind. And you'll see I keep doing that as I'm working my way around. But don't get yourself all the way around, because obviously we're remembering we're going to put some sort of filling in this brooch. And how much is up to you as to how fat you want your leaf to be. It might be that you just want a little bit. Now I'm using toy filling when I do mine, but what I just wanted to say was you can use anything. So if you've got some leftover threads, if you knit or crochet, or if you've got some scraps of fabric you can cut up and put in, that'll work perfectly well. Just poke a little bit in with your finger, and if you think, well, that's okay, carry on. If not, get a little bit more like me and poke that in. And then just make sure you're happy with it before you carry on sewing. And then we're going to finish off that little running stitch. So go right back to where you started. You can see I'm just fastening up that little hole that's left. And then all we'll have to do is finish off the thread. So obviously whatever finishing off we do will be visible. We can't hide it very easily. So go to the back and just do a little tiny stitch and put your needle through the loop. And then put your needle in so that it comes out again somewhere else on the back, and just make sure you haven't gone through the front. And this is so that it won't pull through, because there'll be a length of yarn in there. And that's it, you've made your brooch. I hope you enjoy making loads of them, and please give me any comments below on what you've made.